Episode 7 begins with Aina at Mayang's house, and she's deep in thought, imagining the sequence. Mayang was the last owner, before her was Chimak, and the first was Yunsu. This house is the link between all three of them. Then she starts thinking about the building, which had 13 units owned by Yunsu, 12 of which were in his family's name, and one he had given to Chimak. Later, Aina and Kim sit down to discuss. Aina says it makes sense that Mayang got an apartment since she was in a relationship with Chimak. But what's strange is why Yunsu gave an apartment to Chimak just 2 months after owning it, and then, 1 month later, Mayang got hers. Kim finds this suspicious. Aina wonders if all of them were involved in a joint crime and were rewarded with apartments in return. She also asks how her uncle could be connected to all this. Kim tells her that the police station her uncle worked at covered the area where this building is located, and since he was the station's superintendent, maybe he helped cover up their crimes. Aina thinks, if he helped them cover it up, he must have gotten something big in return. But what could it have been? Then they both look at the puzzle pieces again. There's a clown stepping on children's sandcastles. Yunsu, Chimak is wearing an armband, and Mayang the one who whispered into someone's ear, and Donghoon shot the man in the doll-shaped. Aina feels like each piece in puzzle shows the wrongdoings each culprit's committed. Then Kim says he wants to have some coffee. Aina says she will order, but Kim says it's nearby and they can walk. Aina gives him her card since she doesn't want to go. Kim brings the coffee, and when he returns, Aina is sleeping. He quietly drinks coffee without disturbing her. She wakes up and says she wants to go for a walk, and Kim sighs deeply. Kim then goes to meet the captain and asks about Donghoon Yoon, what kind of man he was, and mentioned that since officer had worked with the captain, Kim is just curious because Yoon was murdered. The captain says Yoon was a good cop, the youngest superintendent. Kim then asks why Yoon left the force. The captain explains it was due to frustration over a serial killing case and the department was getting bad publicity. Yoon quit under pressure, and because the public had lost trust in the police. Meanwhile, Aina visits her therapist. The therapist asks her to talk about the secret place she was sleeping in. Aina replies that apart from what they discussed last time, not much has changed. Then she starts asking about the man she was staying with at the secret place. But then Aina says she wants to talk about her uncle today instead. She explains that she doesn't think her uncle was the person she thought he was. She had kept her eyes closed because she was afraid to face the truth. The therapist says that's normal, people often shut their eyes because opening them to reality is hard. The Aina then asks about the therapist's personal life, but she refuses to share anything. As Aina walks outside, she sees Detective Nam. Detective Nam tells her she's just here to visit a friend who works there. They talk outside. The Detective Nam tells her about the guilt she feels that if she had gotten to the car earlier that day, maybe Mayang would have been saved. Aina then tells her that Mayang must have deliberately broken the signal because she probably saw the police car there, and she did it to signal the police to help her. This makes the Detective Nam feel even guiltier. But Aina tells her that even if she had managed to stop the car that day, it wouldn't have saved her. She says it'll take time, but she will eventually be okay. Later, Kim and Aina are going through a bunch of files related to Aina's uncle. Aina says she always thought her uncle left the force because of her and was a respected police officer. Kim says they don't yet know how many crimes he may have covered up. He then asks Aina if she can handle it since she might be biased when it comes to her uncle. He asks, "Can Lieutenant Aina Yoon do this?" To which Aina replies, "Yes, she can." Then the captain calls the commander and informs him that Kim had come to meet him and was asking questions about Donghoon. Then he asks the commander whether the report Aina had shown him earlier was somehow related to Donghoon's death. The commander also starts thinking deeply about it. Meanwhile, Aina and Kim are seen looking into a serial killing case in which the victim's younger brother had filed a defamation lawsuit against a journalist, and this case was being handled by Donghoon, after which he had left the force, and the case was shut down 3 months later. They suspect that their killer might be the victim from that earlier case. While Kim and Aina are on their way, Kim mentions handkerchief that might belong to the killer. He says only he, Detective San, and their team leader know about this, which makes Aina ask why he shared this information with them and if he trusts them. Kim replies that he's suspicious of everyone except the team leader. Aina reminds him of what he had previously told her and he needs to think like Lieutenant Kim and keep his emotions aside. Then, both of them go to meet the younger brother of the last victim. Aina asks him if he had filed the defamation case, and he gets frustrated. He says if the authorities had done their job properly, his sister might have been saved. He's angry at how the journalist could write such a shameful article about his sister, portraying her in a bad character. He also mentions Aina's uncle, saying he was the one who had covered the case. He then talks about someone who had died, which makes Aina think he's referring to her uncle, but then he clarifies that he was talking about that journalist. Aina and Kim then go to get the case file of that journalist, whose name was Ganghyun Lee. While reading the file, Aina comes across the name Kyeoljin Oh, which sounds familiar, but she can't recall who it is. Kim then notices in a photo from the crime scene that there is another puzzle piece present. They realize that this murder had taken place 8 months before Aina's uncle's death, which means her uncle was actually the second victim, the journalist was the first. Aina then understands how her uncle's murder was carried out so flawlessly, because it wasn't the killer's first murder the first time a killer usually makes mistakes. Kim reads more about the journalist and the next day applies for a 1-year leave. He informs the team leader that he wants to work with Aina on the puzzle killer case and shows him the report. Kim tells him that all the murders are linked, and once solved, they can publicly announce it. But Young-ho asks Kim if he has told anyone else besides him. Kim denies this. The team leader questions how Kim can trust Aina so easily without knowing everything about her. He refuses to grant Kim leave and tells him to keep working on this case as it also involves Yoon's case and asks Kim to keep updating him on what he finds. As the team leader leaves, Kim gets a call from the commander and goes to meet him. The commander confronts Kim, saying he heard that Kim is looking into the journalist's case but still hasn't caught Yoonsu's killer. He demands answers. Kim is forced to answer and tells that all the murders are related and that their police station might also be involved. The commander demands evidence. Kim says he doesn't have it yet but he'll find it. The commander then instructs him to go and gather evidence. Meanwhile, Aina is seen taking out a puzzle piece from the witness box. It depicts a man holding a camera, and his eyes are stitched shut with thread. Next, Kim visits a police officer who had worked on Ganghyun Lee's case. The officer says they had concluded it was a suicide, but found it strange that someone would kill themselves by putting a plastic bag over their face. The family had refused an autopsy. The journalist had been depressed and lived with his son. Before dying, he had told a friend that he wanted to die. This all things indicated towards suicide. Kim asks the officer about the puzzle piece found at the crime scene. The officer admits he found it odd as if someone had intentionally placed it there and it didn't belong to the journalist's son. The drawing on it was very bizarre and disturbing. Later, the officer wonders who would know the most about the case and remembers Young-ho, who now works at Kim's own police station. Kim learns that Young-ho was actually the original case in charge for the journalist's case, which shocks him. Detective San is working when the team leader arrives. At first, he starts asking questions related to the CCTV footage. Then suddenly, he asks if it was San who told Kim about the handkerchief related to the crime scene. He also asks if San knows anything else. The detective looks at him in a strange way. San gets uncomfortable and replies that he has already told everything he knew. Then, Young-ho receives a message from Kim and goes to meet him. There, Kim tells him how much he admires him and respects all the things he does for the orphanage kids as Young-ho himself was raised in an orphanage. Kim has always looked up to him like an elder brother. When he had newly joined, he once visited a victim's funeral to apologize to the family for not being able to save their loved one. Since then, he has respected Young-ho the most. Kim, on the other hand, says that he became a cop only because he was inspired by movies and novels, but Young-ho had a different reason. Young-ho asks Kim what he is trying to do. Kim then directly asks Young-ho about the first case related to the puzzle murder. Why didn't he ever tell him that Young-ho was the one who handled the first case? Kim seems quite disappointed. Then, Kim tells him that he knows the handkerchief was also removed by him, but the team leader denies it. He questions, why would he do that? Then the team leader asks Kim what he knows about Aina. Young-ho tells him about the day Ganghyun Lee died. He says that in the apartment above Ganghyun's apartment, his son was having group study with 3 friends that night. One of them was Aina. Everyone left by 12:30 a.m., but Aina had left around 11 saying she wasn't feeling well. However, she wasn't seen leaving on the cameras. He wanted to talk to her, but Aina's uncle didn't let him, saying she wasn't feeling well and had gone to the rooftop for fresh air. Young-ho wanted to know more about this case too, but he was transferred before he could investigate. 8 months later, Aina's uncle died. He then asks Kim if he still trusts the same Aina, and Kim looks a bit confused. We then see Aina standing in front of the same building where Ganghyun used to live. She is remembering that day. She recalls seeing Ganghyun, who appeared to be drunk and talking on the phone, sounding like he was in trouble and asking someone for help. It was 9 p.m. Later, she sees him again upstairs yelling on the phone and begging someone to help him. He was talking to a man named Kyeoljin, which she had seen in his call history. Aina hears all this and leaves to go study. While studying with her friends, she starts feeling uneasy and goes to the rooftop for fresh air. With her earphones in, she sees a man entering the building from the outside and wonders who he was. Later, someone killed Ganghyun. This was the first murder by the killer, yet he left no traces behind except one mistake that his puzzle didn't get the attention he wanted. Aina tells all this to Kim. She also asks why the team leader suspects her. Kim questions her why she didn't tell him earlier that she went to the rooftop. Aina replies that if she had gone home, her uncle would have scolded her. Kim then asks why she never told them that she was friends with Ganghyun Lee's son. Aina also says he didn't tell her about the handkerchief. They both start arguing a little. Aina blames the team leader, saying why didn't he tell them this information before. Kim defends his team leader. Aina says he already knew about the puzzle from the beginning, but despite so many murders, the team leader never spoke up. Kim also starts doubting. Aina tells him that he must decide who he wants to trust and walks away. Later, while checking the call history again, Aina sees the same name Kyeoljin. Just then, her housekeeper comes. Aina asks if she knows anyone named Kyeoljin. The housekeeper says she has heard the name but never met him. Meanwhile, Kim is at the police station, confused about whom to trust. He gets a message from Aina asking the same whom does he trust. Then we see Aina in Jeju, taking a taxi to meet Kyeoljin on a yacht. She tells him that she knows he was her uncle's friend and that he used to send her lots of gifts in childhood. That's why his name sounded familiar. Kyeoljin is very happy to see her after so many years. But then Aina suddenly asks him if he knows Ganghyun Lee. Kyeoljin's facial expression changes instantly. He asks Aina if she's really Chief Donghoon's niece or someone else. Then Kim is at home and tries to call Aina, but someone else answers from the police station. Kim assumes she must be helping someone as a criminal profiler. But the person says Aina has been arrested as a murder suspect. Kim is shocked. Then we see a dock manager arrives and sees Aina pulling something out of the water with a rope. He asks what she is doing. We then see that Aina is pulling Kyeoljin's dead body out of the water. The episode ends here. Thanks for watching.